So this is the last of my Lord of the Rings figures, and this is actually from the Two Towers. We have moved into the second movie. This, of course, as you can see, is Gandalf the White. I think this is a much better likeness to Ian McKellen than the first one. However, they do seem to have, greater detail in the face, but have less in the detail over some of the rest of the figure, like particularly his robes here, and back here is this kind of cape, cloak. Don't get me wrong, there's still nice details with the belt and his scabbard and sword, which I'll get to later. His paint scheme here is not actually white. It's got a lot of yellow or cream to it. And I guess I can understand why they did that. It's kind of hard to have just a pure white figure. Again, we do still have the layering that this line is known for. I mean, you have the robes here, you have the cloak, you have this sort of, again, kind of vest feature over a shirt, which you can kind of see the hints at underneath there. Looking at his accessories, we've got his staff, because every wizard needs his staff. Very nicely sculpted, very soft plastic tip, so prevent kids, I guess, from poking their eye out. We have a much more detailed Glamdring, his sword, much better than the first version of the sword. And he has this nice scabbard with which to store his sword in. Now he does have a gimmick, and that's a staff-raising battle action, I guess, which is kind of weak, if you ask me. You really have to manipulate it to get the essence of what the gimmick should be. Raise his arm out and extend his staff from a kind of a neutral position here to an attack position. For articulation, his head does move side to side, but is limited by the sculpt of his hair and beard. You can move his arm all the way around, but you cannot pose the elbow, because that's just automatically snaps up. You can, however, rotate his wrist. And the other arm is totally free of the gimmick, so you can move his arm all the way around, and it goes in and out, bends at the elbow, and this too rotates at the wrist. One little nitpick with the way the figure is, you of course notice that he's holding his staff in this hand, and this hand is small enough to hold the staff, for him to grip the staff. However, it's too small for him to grip the sword, and of course his sword is on this side, so you would pull the sword out with this hand, and he would wield the sword with that hand. However, this is the hand that is molded to grip his sword. My question is how does he get the sword into that hand? Yeah, that's my one nitpick. That's something that gets me irritated with any figure. Doesn't matter which line it's from, but where you have someone where you're wielding a sword or a weapon on one side, but you have the hand open to hold it, that's going to hold it on the same side, you're not paying attention closely. It'd be hard to reach back and get your sword out of your scabbard with this arm. Anyway, back to articulation. Enough ranting. His legs go forward and back, as well as bend at the knee and at the ankle. I think he does have waist articulation, but it's kind of hard to get him. You gotta hold his legs to make him move. Yet this guy in particular can be a little bit of a pain to get into position to stand up. You may have to use his very sturdy cloak to help support him a little bit. He's in a much more actiony pose than the other Gandalf. You know, ready to fight the oncoming orcs. So anyway, the reason why Gandalf is the white is obviously he dies, and he's sent back by it's the closest thing to a supreme god that the mythology of Middle-earth has, and it sends him back to finish the job. You know, is finally, you're just there to help people get rid of Sauron. So you're going back, and he comes back as Gandalf the White, and he actually says he's what Saruman now, or more particularly, he's what Saruman should have been all the time, the chief protector of Middle-earth and advisor of Middle-earth, the chief adversary of all the works of evil. So that's how he gets the white title and the white garments, and his new power staff. So that's it. I wish I had more of these guys. You know, there's a great line. They just didn't concentrate on the main characters. I mean, you had people on there that they weren't on screen for all that long. When you have multiple versions of the main cast, they make sense because their costume changes. So you will have 5 or 6 different Aragorns, but they all make sense because one is before he's in Rivendell, one's after he's in Rivendell, one's during the Battle of Helm's Deep, one's when he's in his armor going to face the legions of Mordor, and another is when he's crowned king. Coincidentally, this week, I happened to look on one of my favorite web shows, podcasts, at that new Toy Smell, and I'll put that here and a link down in there. They had a much larger collection than I did. I would suggest that you check that out.